Slava Isus Augustus, Slava Navika, glory be to Jesus Christ, glory be forever. Says Father Basil again, doing another podcast, and again reading from this article, Love is Our Mission, The Family Fully Alive, the Catechesis for the World Meeting of Families from Philadelphia 2015. And this section starts with why pornography and masturbation are wrong. Commodifying sex always entails commodifying persons. Pornography, often linked to and fed by the cruelty of human trafficking, is now a pandemic, not just among men, but increasingly among women. This lucrative global industry can invade any home with a computer or cable television. Pornography catechizes its consumers in selfishness, teaching its users to see other people as objects to satisfy our appetites. For each of us, the task of learning patience, generosity, forbearance, magnanimity, and other aspects of cruciform love is difficult enough. Pornography makes giving ourselves to other people and to God's covenant even harder, even for the casual user. Masturbation is wrong for analogous reasons. When a person enjoys or rationalizes using pornography or resorting to masturbation, he or she leeches away the capacity for self-denial, mature sexuality, and genuine intimacy with a spouse. It's little wonder that pornography plays a large role in many of today's broken marriages. Pornography and masturbation can also attack the vocation of celibate persons precisely because they can seem so private. Why contraception is wrong. In like manner, contraception also leads us to see sexual desire as an entitlement. It enables users to treat the desire for sexual intimacy as self-justifying. By separating procreation from communion, contraception obscures and ultimately undermines the rationale for marriage. Married couples who contracept might do so with good intentions. Many married couples experience and believe that their contraceptive sex is essential for holding their marriage together, or that contraceptive sex is harmless and victimless. Many married couples have become so habituated to contraception that the church's teaching can seem shocking. But if a married couple are indeed seeking the interior freedom, mutual self-giving, and self-sacrificial love to which God's covenant summons us all, then it is hard to imagine in what sense contraception is necessary and essential. The Church believes that insistence on contraception rests upon myths about marriage which are not true. As Pope Pius XII explained, there are some who would allege that happiness in marriage is in direct proportion to the reciprocal enjoyment in conjugal relations. It is not so. Indeed, happiness in marriage is in direct proportion to the mutual respect of the partners, even in their intimate relations. In other words, to regard contraception as necessary or even helpful works from a confused premise. At its roots, a happy marriage, the kind that endures over a lifetime, has more in common with the generous, patient, self-giving powers of celibacy than what Pope Pius XII called a refined hedonism. Recently, Pope Francis referred to the Holy Family in highlighting the qualities of generosity and interior freedom that enable a good marriage. Joseph was a man who always listened to the voice of God. He was deeply sensitive to his secret will. He was a man attentive to the messages that came to him from the depths of his heart and from on high. He did not persist in following his own plan for his life. He did not allow bitterness to poison his soul. Rather, he was ready to make himself available to the news that, in such a bewildering way, was being presented to him, and thus he was a good man. He did not hate, and he did not allow bitterness to poison his soul. And Joseph thereby became even freer and greater by accepting himself according to God's design. Joseph fully finds himself beyond himself. His freedom to renounce even what it is, what is his, and his full interior availability to the will of God challenges us and shows us the way. Contraception obscures this interior freedom and power. To the extent sexual desires are treated as entitlements, or desires that can never be postponed, the need to grow in interior freedom is revealed. As a technical solution to what is really actually a moral problem, contraception conceals the basic question that concerns the meaning of human sexuality and the need for a responsible mastery of it so that its practice may become an expression of personal love. The benefits of natural family planning. Certainly, responsible parenthood includes discerning when to have children. Serious reasons arising from physical, economic, psychological, and social conditions can lead a husband and a wife to decide not to have additional children for either a certain or indefinite period of time. Catholic husbands and wives who find themselves in this situation need teachers, mentors, and friends who can train and support them in natural family planning. Parishes and dioceses should make this help a pastoral priority and easy to find. It is profoundly more likely that a couple actually live Catholic teaching if they have spiritual direction, practical instruction, and supportive friends. Lay people, pastors, and bishops all have responsibilities for creating these enabling conditions. If a married couple with generous hearts and after genuine prayer and reflection discern that it is not a season in life when God is calling them to have additional children, then from time to time, natural family planning will require them to abstain from sexual relations. Practicing NFP in this way, the spouses subordinate or offer their short-term sexual desires to their larger sense of God's call upon their lives. This subordination of will and desire is one of many ways in which NFP and contraception are so different from each other, both objectively and experientially. NFP is an intimate and demanding and therefore potentially beautiful and deepening path of following the Lord in marriage. NFP is premised upon the beauty and necessity of marital sexual intimacy because it also relies on occasional abstinence for the sake of spacing births. NFP summons couples to communication and self-mastery. Like the marriage bond itself, NFP shapes and disciplines sexual desire. The very idea of monogamy presupposes that fallen sexual men and women can patiently discipline otherwise roaming desires and learn to treat a spouse with generosity and fidelity. In this way, the periodic abstinence required by NFP works to deepen and explore a commitment that married people have already made. NFP does not guarantee a happy marriage, nor does it exempt a marriage from all the ordinary sufferings of marriage. But NFP is an attempt to build a household on rock and not sand. Contraception spreads confusion about marriage more widely in society. As the church predicted nearly 50 years ago, contraception not only undermines marriages, but has other harmful side effects in society as well. Ubiquitous contraception means that few are in the habit of abstinence and sexual self-control. In this way, Contraception has made celibacy much less plausible to modern people, and thereby made marriage or other types of romantic coupling seem visually or virtually inevitable. When that happens, all of a community's social life is distorted. And insofar as contraception drains celibacy of its plausibility, it contributes to the shortage of young priests and vowed religious. Contraception also makes sex outside of marriage, whether premarital or extramarital, appear superficially more plausible, as if sexual intimacy could exist without consequences. And of course, many of the same arguments for childless sex that seek to justify contraception apply just as well, but with even uglier and more brutal results to permissive abortion. In separating sex and procreation, contraception encourages a culture to premise marriage on emotional and erotic companionship. This reductionist, disordered view feeds much of today's confusion about what marriage really is, making divorce more likely and common, as if marriage were a contract that could be broken and renegotiated. As Pope Francis recently wrote, the family is experiencing a profound cultural crisis, as are all communities and social bonds. Marriage now tends to be viewed as a form of mere emotional satisfaction that can be constructed in any way or modified at will. But the indispensable contribution of marriage to society transcends the feelings and momentary needs of the couple. As the French bishops have taught, it is not born of loving sentiment, ephemeral by definition, but from the depth of the obligation assumed by the spouses who accept to enter a total communion of life. So that was quite the talk today about why pornography and masturbation is wrong, why contraception is wrong, why we must practice natural family planning, and about confusion in marriage and society. So there'll be a lot more to talk about next time I do this podcast. God bless. Have a good day.